Well, as you know, Sean, Australia's also going to the polls on Saturday, and our Prime Minister has also been attacking our opposition leader as well for being too much like Donald Trump. Why do you think that the Donald Trump tag is so damaging to conservative leaders around the world?
Well, I don't think it's damaging to conservative leaders around the world. I think it's damaging to some of them. Malay and down in South America, and then Meloni and Italy, they've done very well. So I think it depends on where you are and how you position yourself. But look, I think because of the tariffs in particular and how people are describing their relationship with Donald Trump, it has made it more of a nuanced issue in some of these places where they're coming into their own races and having to define the relationship that they have or want to have with Donald Trump.
But I have to say, our Prime Minister also said this in a debate.
I'm not sure that he has a mobile phone, the US president.
Is that right?
No, I mean, that doesn't sound. I mean, look, I know that to be not true. I called him on it. I'm thinking about this in my head for a second. I've called him on it fairly recently, as a matter of fact. Now, I'm not going to give you the number, but I think that's the thing about a story like that, though, is that it's not someone's word against another. Again, I think if you talk to most people in the United States, including most reporters, that's how they contact President Trump. They just dial him up on his phone. Much to the chagrin of his current press staff, and I can speak as the former leader of his previous press staff, that's been a consistent theme with President Trump. But he is clearly accessible and transparent. Again, it makes him tough to staff, but it makes him who he is.
Well, maybe, Sean, you could do our Prime Minister a favour and pass on the phone number, because he hasn't been able to get a phone call through and doesn't seem to have the number himself. An amazing situation.
Well,
but,
I'll tell you this. Here's what I'll tell you. You need to have your Prime Minister reach back out to your former ambassador, Mr. Joe Hockey, who did a phenomenal job, and ask him to help, because I know Ambassador Hockey was able to converse with Donald Trump quite often. So maybe get him back into service.
See, this is why we have you on the show, because you are such a wonderful aid to American-Australian relationships like that. Our Prime Minister will thank you. Coming up to 100 days in office, well, your time tomorrow, it's 100 days in office for Donald Trump. The president is behind in the polls, though. Rasmussen has got him 47% to 52%. Other polls are even worse for him. Why would that be?
You know, it's an interesting question. I spent almost the entire day over at the White House, Andrew, in briefings and talking to senior officials about this 100-day mark. And one of the questions that I asked them was this: what are the top 100-day achievements of the president? And when I got back, Andrew, was a 17-page document. And I was going through it, and the thing, and I was being serious when I was talking to a couple of the folks today over at the White House. I said, I know that President Trump goes at breakneck speed, but every once in a while, do you think that you've got to slow down how you message? Because as a supporter and follower of this White House, and I would argue fairly closely, I had forgotten some of the things that he had accomplished in the first 100 days. Because I think that one of the challenges they face is that because Donald Trump is doing so much, sometimes it's hard to stop, pause, and get the word out. So you think of some of the efforts that he's led on DOGE and to reform our federal government and the spending that we have. You think of the cultural stuff, the woke DEI, the transgender things that were big issues, all of the work that he and his team are doing to keep America safe and closing the border and immigration reform, rolling up bad guys and getting them back out of the country. All of those things, one of them would have been significant for a previous president. There's a level of confidence that he has right now that wasn't there, I think, at the beginning of the first term for obvious political reasons. You're new at the job. And I say that because when you are more focused on the job that you're doing and less about putting your finger in the air on whatever poll is up or down, you feel more resolute and purposeful in what you're doing. And I think that, look, the thing that's fascinating, I point this out to people all the time, the easy thing politically for Donald Trump to do is nothing. not cut government, not hold other countries accountable with the tariffs, not deport all of these people who are criminals in the country. Just go along to get along. Let your numbers rise. Do some cute stuff on the side like Bill Clinton did with midnight basketball. But the bottom line is, I think he understands that he has a mandate from the American people to do things. And some things might not be immediately popular. But I believe in each one of these cases, the long-term results will prevail in the polls and reflective of a positive outcome for him with the American people. I know that because if he wanted to, he could easily just shift on a dime and do the easy thing. But he's willing to fight for what he thinks is right and in the best interest of the country. And sometimes that's not like the political short-term best thing.
Sean Spicer, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.